San Francisco-based tech firm OpenAI hit the headlines recently with their new product ChatGPT. ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence application that can churn out emails, business plans, computer code, newspaper articles, academic essays, and even pieces of fiction in the style of writers like Joyce or Dostoevsky in a matter of seconds. But is this output really original? And what are the consequences for society? On this week's episode of the Crypto Mile, we speak to Chief AI Officer at WPP, Daniel Kuhn. Daniel, welcome to the Crypto Mile.
It's nice to be here, thank you.
Okay, Daniel, is ChatGPT a big deal, or are we seeing just another buzzword, and will it ever live up to the hype?
It's a huge deal. These what are called large language models are going to be revolutionary. They essentially move us one more step towards what is called artificial general intelligence, where we have machines behaving like real human beings. There's going to be a huge amount of hype over the next few years. We're going to see lots of interesting examples, but it will take several years for businesses to really start to embed these technologies into their organizations. And again, over the next few years, we're going to see even more exponential improvements of these technologies that are really going to blow people's heads off.
Right. Now, when it generates content, is it generating new original content, or is it just like a mashup of stuff that already exists online?
It's absolutely creating new content. So I asked it recently what it knew about me, and it was very good, but it made some inferences about my history, my work experience that were just not true, that don't exist on the internet, but it was using its predictive power, its logic to try to make inferences that were novel. But I guess there's a whole spectrum of what it means to be creative, to create things that are new. I saw recently somebody asked it to create an episode of Red Dwarf and include 4 jokes, and it was excellent. And that, again, is content that's never been created on the internet before.
So recently, Microsoft has invested heavily in this technology. Will ChatGPT power the next generation of search engines?
So Google will be releasing their own versions of ChatGPT. I think it's called Sparrow. I think the challenge with search engines is that they are funded by ads, and so what they need to do is find the balance of creating content that's relevant for what you're searching for, but introduce product placement and things like that that doesn't distract from what you're asking it. But what we're going to see is these technologies be embedded throughout these productivity stacks. We're going to see it help us write essays in Microsoft Word. It's going to help us write formulas in Excel. It'll essentially be embedded across all of our different our tools that we use as an advisor to help us improve the output of them.
Now, if the future is going to be saturated with artificial intelligence applications and they're embedded in all sorts of areas of life, which industries are going to be the biggest winners and which the biggest losers?
I think it's important to really understand what AI is. Over the past couple of decades, we've seen various different types of technologies emerge that can really do some very interesting things, that can really move the needle for organizations. I actually think there are 6 categories. I won't go into any details here, but there are really 2 definitions of AI. The first one is getting computers to do things that humans can do. So ChatGPT is an excellent example of that. So we're going to start to see these technologies replacing tasks that human beings do. But those organizations that are really going to win are organizations that can adapt very quickly to a changing world. And actually, there's a much better definition of AI that's linked to a different definition of intelligence. So instead of using human beings as a definition of intelligence, there's a very good one called goal-directed adaptive behavior. And the key there is your ability to adapt more quickly to a changing world. So that's really where we see organizations be successful.
Okay, so still, there's a lot of worry out there about like this technology and how it could disrupt the future of work and stuff like that. So how can the normal person future-proof their careers and earning potential if the future is going to be embedded by so many of these AI applications?
Exponentially advancing ourselves into the future, it's becoming more and more difficult to see what that future looks like. And so I would always advise people to do the things that they're interested in first. I think that these technologies are difficult at being able to do things where you have to combine tactile and audio and visual. And they also find it difficult to be able to do things where the data is hard to find. So if I'm relying on data to be able to do my job that's very difficult to find, then it will be difficult for AIs to find. But actually, one of my good friends is called Callum Chase, is an author on this subject. It's often referred to as the economic singularity. It's a point in time where these technologies essentially create mass technological unemployment. So that the concern is, over the next 15 years, we are going to create mass technological unemployment, and that could cause a huge amount of social unrest because our economies can't rebalance. There is a school of thought that actually we should be using these technologies to remove as much friction as possible from the the creation of goods, and friction usually means human labor. So actually we should be automating as much as possible the creation of food, healthcare, education, energy. And if we get the timing right, there's a possibility you could make all of that stuff free. You can bring the cost down so much that we live in a world of abundance, where people are born into a world that they don't have to pay for food, they don't have to pay for their education, it's free. If we get the timing wrong, we could have a huge amount of social unrest.
Yes, and that brings us to this question. I suppose have you seen Dune?
Yes.
Now in Dune, humanity rose up against AI because it kind of like made human agency and creativity redundant. Now, do you have any of these kind of concerns about the ethical considerations of this technology?
Yeah, absolutely, every day. I know lots of people that have become economically free. They've sold their businesses, they're very wealthy. They're not sitting at home bored and depressed. They are using their time, their energy to try and contribute positively to humanity. I actually believe that we all have an innate desire to want to contribute positively to humanity. And what I want to do is use these technologies to free as many people up from their economic constraints so that they can enrich our lives. They might not be paid work, but it's work that people will enjoy doing that might enrich each other's lives.
Well, we're certainly moving forward into a brave new world.
We are.
So, Daniel, thank you very much for coming on this week's episode of The Crypto Mile.
Thank you.